Hey, my friends, my name is Marissa. Welcome to my divination channel. I'm very excited to have you guys here and to be part of your journey towards mastery and towards your highest self in any way possible. Tarot is one of the methods that I use in this life to help myself and others navigate their road less traveled and to just deepen conviction in their path and deepen conviction in the signs that the universe is always bringing to us all the time, and to really help us trust more and more that this world is made of magic, because it is. And we see that magic more as we lean into it and as we take risks that we feel deep down we need to take in order to actualize those versions of self that are necessary to merge with these paradigms that we know are meant for us, but might seem a little bit out of reach. Or maybe there's some imposter syndrome, or maybe we're like, how could that ever happen? And so there's different modalities that I use to help people strengthen this inner conviction and to elevate this connection between the limited mind and the higher mind, to clear the channels, so to speak. And so it makes moving through life so much easier, so much more graceful, so much more fun and less messy, etc. So that's just a little bit about me. I'm super excited about these readings today. There are 4 aspects to each pile. We'll get into the aspects in the containers themselves, and you have 3 groups to choose from today. Take your time as always. You can use a random number generator if you need a little extra assistance today, or if you're overthinking things today. And whenever you're feeling ready, we're going to hop into these readings. Hey, group number 1, welcome to your reading. I am so excited to extend this reading to you guys today. This is one of my favorite spreads ever. This is a message from your future self, okay? Super juicy, super in-depth and detailed. There are 4 aspects to these readings today. The first aspect is what your higher self wants for you in this life. The next aspect is resistances that hold you back. The next one is your gifts and talents that help move you forward. And lastly, the next step your higher self wants you to take right now, okay? These are here for clarification as we go through the reading. You're more than welcome to stick around for the shuffling portion, or you can head right into the reading, okay? So we are calling upon those guides that are overseeing the group of souls drawn to this group today. We're asking, what does the higher self of those souls want for this collective in this lifetime, please? What does higher self want for these souls in this life? Okay, anything else? What does higher self want for these souls in this life? Let's see. Yeah, I'll take them. Okay. Next, we are asking resistances that hold pile 1 back. What are the resistances that hold this group back? Resistances that hold this group back, please. Okay. All right. Next, we are asking the gifts and talents that help move this group forward. Gifts and talents that help move this group forward. Okay. And lastly, we're asking the next step that higher self wants this group to take. Anything else? Okay. Next step higher self wants this group to take. Okay. All right, group 1, let's get into it. So, resistances that hold you back. We have community. We have not for you. And we have fork in the road. Okay, right away I'm going to get some clarification for this. Oh, I'm sorry. This is what your higher self wants for you in this life. I don't know why I read the second one. You guys are probably like, what? Okay, what your higher self wants for you this life. I'm not sure if that's what I actually said or not. I'm like already in a channeling mode. Okay, so what the higher self want for this life. And we had another one flip over. Okay, we'll stick with these. Okay, what your higher self wants for you in this life. So we have Strength. We have King of Pentacles. We have Knight of Swords. We have Six of Swords, and we have the Fool. Okay, so this is pretty clear. So group one, what your higher self wants for you in this life is to know that when things don't work out the way that you might have thought you wanted them to work out, that's not a punishment in any way. And your higher self has you on a very specific path of refinement within this life. So in some cases in many cases I'm hearing, your path has felt very narrow, as if it feels like you don't have a lot of wiggle room in terms of the paths that you are here to take. And what I mean by that is that even if you can have a smorgasbord of like options where it seems like you're supposed to go and do, it's like, I feel like internally you've always been one to have a very strong inner compass in terms of what's for you and what's not. And so your path feels very refined in this life. And I feel like what your higher self wants for you in this life is it's a pretty specific type of like blueprint, where you are meant to be part of a community in some sort of way. And if you're not seen as like the leader, you're seen as one of the leaders of whatever this community is, or within this field, or within this niche. Okay. Your higher self wants you to be abundant. Your higher self wants you to be self-sufficient. Your higher self didn't want this to be an easy journey. Okay. And your higher self too, like you've had many lessons where there's been forks in the road or decisions to make, where sometimes it's essential that even if you don't know what's right for you, sometimes knowing what's not right for you is just as important. Okay. But more and more your higher self wants you in this life. I'm sorry, my incense is like overwhelming me. What your higher self wants you to do in this life when it comes to these forks in the road is more and more you're making decisions that light you up. More and more you're getting to those forks in the road and you're like, okay, I see this timeline. I'm intuiting this timeline. Which one feels the most free? Which one feels the most prosperous? Which one feels the most abundant? Even if I don't know how it's going to come about, the Fool energy is one that like the Fool is just going for it, right? They're just taking the leap regardless and knowing it's all going to work out, even if they don't have, the whole path and roadmap laid out in front of them. So a few sixes coming up that I'm noticing right away. And, this is all about using your gifts and talents. 6 is all about the humanitarian, using your gifts and talents to benefit humanity, to benefit other beings. Okay, using your adversities, the things that you have been through for the people that you're here to serve. I'm getting that this lifetime for you is one of mastery. I'm not getting that you are a young soul by any means. I'm getting that you're like a mature to old soul. You've done this many times. You've lived many lives before. And so what comes along with that territory is naturally you are here to be a teacher. Naturally you are here to help guide other people into their own soul's knowing, into their own soul's calling, and to kind of have this fearless air about you. And sometimes it takes a while. Sometimes it takes, from between waking up in this life and when you really feel like you're in your stride, that can take 5, 8, 10, 12 years, but when those scales tip, you're going to be a type of individual that is really, if they haven't already, that is really exuding and showing what it means to live a life on purpose and what it means to live a life where you're not taking anyone else's word for it. You're not watching your life happen on the sidelines. Like, you are really engaged in life. The thing about the King is you can always tell how connected someone is to like the things in their life, the peoples in their life, by their relationship to their environment. So in this case, the King is surrounded, like he's enmeshed, he's like one with his environment, right? And so you're someone that is meant to be like an active player in life. Although I am hearing that in many cases, it's almost felt like maybe you were on the sidelines for a bit, like watching other people get theirs, or, you know, that might be part of your journey in some way, of like watching other people win and feeling like, okay, when is it going to be my turn? And you've been, again, under a very specific process of refinement, but when the scales tip, they tip, okay? And you're going to realize why certain doors were not meant for you at certain times, or at all. Right? Because when you're on your throne, when you get there, if you don't already feel like you're like kind of getting cozy, you know, on your throne, when you start, you know, getting closer and closer to that, it's going to make sense. Okay. But you have this warrior spirit. You're meant to not give up. You were meant to go through these challenges and, you know, these kind of defining moments throughout your life where it was like, wow, my life would have been so different if I had, you know, gone this way instead of this way. And to just trust, you know, a big part of this life is trust, and knowing that the path you're on is not a path that has been walked before, and you're not here to live a life that is like what everyone else is doing. You're not here to just, you know, succumb to a normal 9 to 5. Again, that might be a part of your blueprint at some point, but I really am seeing that you're meant to be self-sufficient in something that involves your gifts, that involves serving others, or that there's a big possibility that you could, or at the very least, you know, you're doing that enough to where the 9 to 5 doesn't feel like such a drag or a soul suck, you know. Or maybe in some way, if you do have a traditional like 9 to 5, it's like within an organization of like-minded souls where everyone's on an equal playing field, where everyone shares a vision. But you're definitely meant to live life on purpose this incarnation, and things always turn out better than you expected with a 6 of Swords. There's a sense of always moving on, always, you know, the next thing is coming. Like a very accelerated life path is really what I'm getting from this group. So very exciting, very like on edge kind of life, very like against the grain, I would say, and just like not normal, whatever normal means, but just very very unique. Like other people would be like, whoa, that's so cool, that's what you get to do, like that's pretty dope. And it seems like things change for you pretty quickly. It seems like you have natural leadership abilities, that you're meant to be a leader in some way, and, you know, you're using your gifts to serve other people. And yeah, a lot of defining moments in your life that you realize have really shaped you into the person that you are now. And it's all part of it, right? You've been undergoing a very specific refinement process, and I do see a lot of prosperity in your life, although the King is the slowest moving, right? So although your energy could be moving quick, your intellect could be moving quick, your downloads could be moving quick with that Knight of Air energy, the rate at which you see it externally might take a little bit longer than maybe it's taken, you know, some people that seem to blow up overnight. But just trusting, you know, that's your divine blueprint in this round, and that's their divine blueprint in this round. We have no idea why, the specifications of their soul's plan in this life and what they're here to learn, you know. So just continue to do you, but you are here for big things, big reasons. Yeah, again, 6 might be a significant number for you guys in some way. Okay. That holds you back. We have suffering in silence. Fulfillment of wishes. So 9 or 6 could be a number for you guys. So a lot about completion. Yeah, it could be a life path number. It could be like a significant date for you guys. Months. So what is that? June, September. We have patience. Yeah, definitely was picking up the patience, for sure. Resistances, shadow. And lastly, we have the waiting game. Oh, okay. There's so much here about honoring your process, honoring the refinement period. And, you know, this is something that I do notice with old souls is like, you guys have been through so many lessons and so many lifetimes that like the amount of veils that you've cleared in all your lives, they're not always meant to be fully lifted at this exact moment in time. You know, I think sometimes we forget, like we want to have all the answers, right? But we forget that like we on a higher level are creating this experience. If higher self wanted you to have all of the answers and all of the veils to be lifted, they would be. But that also would not make a human incarnation relevant. It would not make this experience relevant, right? This is, you know, everything is as it is for a reason. And including the confusion you experience in your life, including the veils that do exist, including the insecurities. All of it serves the purpose. This is life on earth. This is your schoolroom. This is your curriculum in this life. Okay, we got another 9 coming up here too with a shadow. So many, many 9s, okay? Many things about completion and, again, reiterating, taking your lessons, everything you've learned, nearing the end, right? Older soul, and using it to benefit humanity. 9 and 6. So resistances that hold you back is patience. Maybe thinking that you need to be somewhere that you're not. I feel like there's a lot of like, you feel misunderstood by people, or you don't feel like you have a lot of people that you can go to with your things. Like people won't understand you, or like, you know yourself to be very confident and you know everything's going to be good, but it doesn't mean that you don't also have your human experiences. And I'm seeing that sometimes, like, having other people see you as not having it all together, even though on like many levels you got it together and you know it's all going to be good, you still have these like human tendencies. And I feel like sometimes it can be hard for you to like let other people see that you're also a human. Yeah, I feel like it's a protection mechanism in some senses, and you've just been let down like the rest of us, in this life by other humans. And I'm just getting that because you are such an old soul, you can understand, you can meet other people where they're at, but in terms of people being able to meet you where you're at it's a bit more challenging because you're just have more experience in lifetimes and in wisdom. And so when people come to you with problems, you can, help set their soul free. But when you need to vent or release or just like talk about something, I feel like sometimes even when people like mean the best, it doesn't always leave you feeling better because the level that they're coming from is like less expanded than you. So there could be a level of frustration with that. But a big emphasis here on what resistance is like honoring your unfolding, honoring the journey, honoring the time that it takes, your healing process. Again, it's like not meant to be on a specific time frame. That's just more of the ego. That's more of the limited mind coming in. And there's something here about the inner journey first and foremost. Okay, the inner journey before you see the outer journey kind of align. And I feel like it has something to do with finances for sure. Like watching externally these seeds of wisdom and these seeds of like energy internally blossom externally. Okay, I just feel like you move a lot faster, like spiritually speaking, energetically speaking, than life is able to keep up with. And so that might be like, okay, when is this going to happen? Like I've been at this for freaking years. Like when is this going to take off? Or like, I've been working so hard. And again, you've been on a process of refinement, releasing shadow, meeting your resistances, meeting your ideas of things being less than perfect. It's all divine. It's all God. It's all you, And so it's just like being honest about where you're, I don't want to say where you're at as if you're not at a good place, like spiritually, but I really feel like a big part of this is just engaging with your human experience. I feel like you guys are so wise and so like spiritual and so like beyond the realms of the 3D. Once you merge a little bit more with a 3D and you're like, okay, this is just my schoolroom, this is just my curriculum, I'm just going to lean into this knowing, no one's ever going to fully understand you. But that's cool because I get me, and on a higher level, we all get all the reasons why we're doing all the things we are, and just like engage in your human life. It's going to feel a lot different, and it actually, man, it feels so much more magical. I feel like sometimes there's periods where we disengage from the human experience because it feels so dry. And then we go into like these hermit phases and we go through these refinement periods where we're like diving into the shadow and releasing these things, right? These inhibitions, these misperceptions. And then once we've gone through that refinement process, then we go back out into the world and we're like, whoa, who dis? And the way we engage with our life and the people in it is so much more different, is so much more free. We've gone within. And so then, of course, the way that we respond to the out is going to be much different. And it feels like, and when you do that, when you go through those periods of internalization and then going back out, I have noticed myself that it feels so much more free, and it's like, whoa, this is so dope, and the gratitude levels go up so much more. But it is about engaging with life. It is about letting yourself be human, my friends, because you did sign up for this human experience. Okay, so we're gonna get into gifts and talents that move you forward. We have a new earth. It's happening. Keep holding the vision. Yeah, you come in here. Yeah, you're here for the planet, my friends. You are here for the planet, and you are here to ring in a new age. You are here to ring in a new earth, a different way of doing things. That's why your life looks so different. That's why you've been on this process of refinement, because you are here for big things, and you want to be able to be at a place to where you can speak to these things with integrity and to speak to these things with conviction. Because this is not just about you. A lot of the shadow that you're meeting is shadow that you agreed to take on for the collective, okay? It's not just yours. And so a gift that you have is that you've known that you were here for a big reason, for a big purpose, since you can remember, okay? You know that you're connected to, you've always felt that. You've always felt like your reason for being here is pretty big. And there's, for good reason you feel that way. No, what the hell? Because it's true. Sorry, I'm just like making sure I didn't shuffle all these the wrong way. Why are some of these flipped over? So strange. Okay. Sorry, I'm totally getting distracted right now. Okay, so gifts and talents that help move you forward. I'm sorry, defenselessness, righting past wrongs, uprooting. Yeah, I feel like you guys are very gentle souls, and I always see this as higher selves being connected. You see how there's two beings up here, and then underneath there's like two bigger like faces. I see this as like you are here to play a very significant role in the lives of other people. Not only do I see like on a community level, for sure, I feel like groups, people gathering together, but in terms of like your intimate relationships or like your one-to-one sessions with clients, or just like your friendships, or the people that you meet through friends, or the lovers of your family, like you are here to really impact people on a very significant, authentic, genuine, and deep level. Okay, so I feel like you guys just have a way of disarming other people. You guys have a way of like, although you're very powerful, and I feel like people feel that from you, and maybe even sometimes like might get the wrong idea of you at first. I feel like when people really get to know you, they just see you as, they recognize that you're so humble. They recognize that you're not here to put on a show. They recognize that you are someone that is just like super dope and super genuine. And I feel like one of the reasons you suffer in silence is not necessarily because you want to like put an image out to other people, but I feel like you've just been let down, honestly. But I'm seeing with the strength that came up earlier, like what your higher self wants for you is like the more that you just own all aspects of yourself, and you walk, the more that you walk this world, this planet, your life, with a sense of like, this is part of it, and there's nothing to be shameful about, because this is just like part of being human, and recognizing that no experience is like unique unto yourself. If you're feeling it, there's a probability that many other people have felt it or are feeling it right now, and at some point will feel it as well. And so it's like you're like an open book is what I'm getting more and more. Like you're able to like speak about things in life in a very poetic way that makes other people, it just like brings peace. I feel like you bring peace everywhere you go. And you are not one to like be so prideful that you wouldn't apologize if you felt like it was necessary. Maybe you even over apologize in some senses, but I feel like you take karma very seriously, and you take it seriously how you impact other people. The golden rule, you take that very seriously as well. Okay. And so, yeah, you did not come here just for your own self, your own lessons. You came here to undo generational karma, ancestral karma. So there's a big part of you in your gifts and lessons that knows that your reason for being here is not just about you. And so I feel like that's what keeps you pushing. That's what keeps you like stepping outside of your comfort zone, or at the very least, that's what higher self wants for you. That's a part of what higher self wants for you in terms of the leaps that you are to take, because you recognize that you have some gifts. You recognize that you have a connection to your soul stream that is pretty unique, and is pretty solid and pretty badass. And the more you'll notice more and more as you share that, your life changes around you, just because you're speaking your truth. You're vibrating your authenticity, you're speaking it, so that's going to, affect the vibrational fields around you, and your reality is going to change because of it. People's lives are going to change because of it. Speaking especially is big, is what I'm getting, but also just like what you emanate, just what you be. You could walk into a room and you're affecting other people's fields. It's, you come in and it's noticed. You're there and it's noticed because you have a very unique soul's signature. You have a very unique soul stream because you've not just gone through refinement in this life, you've gone through refinement on a soul level for thousands and thousands and thousands of lives. Okay, so we're going to get into the next step your higher self wants you to take. Activate solar flares. Aquarius, collaborate. Yep, there's so much here about community. Whatever downloads you've been getting, it's really time, if you haven't already, to really move in the direction of those things that have been coming through. Okay, using your gifts, using your talents, and this is the 9 and 6 energy we've really been talking about. 9, all about taking your wisdom and how can we use that to affect other people? How can I take what's in my cup, the water bearer of Aquarius, and pour it into someone else's cup that needs it? Okay, that's the humanitarian energy. So there's a lot here about, in the ways that you can, putting yourself out there, getting yourself in those situations that is going to have you meeting like-minded souls, like-minded people. It's time to release negativity. Yeah, so especially with this Scorpio energy, maybe there's some aspect of you that is like, again, that suffering in silence, or like afraid to mess up, or afraid to like look bad or something. Or for some of you, the next step that your higher self wants you to take is just to like, you're already doing it, you're already on the path, and to release even more those tethers of negativity, to release even more those doubtful thoughts, or those moments where inevitably your shadow is going to come up. I just feel like shadow does not stand a chance. Like, I'm just getting the sense that you guys are meant to be bulldozers of shadow in this life. And you guys could be going through an activation right now, or this is saying that there's some things that are going to be cleared up in like an activation that you're going to be going through. Okay, but I'm just getting the sense that many of you guys are probably already on this path to a big degree. Okay, so let's get deeper into the next step your higher self wants you to take. High Priestess and Justice, powerful cards to come up. So yeah, you've been receiving things in intuition. This is really about, there's something that you guys have to offer to the world at this time. You've been intuiting it for some time, or it's something that keeps calling you back. Something that's like, oh gosh, that was so fun when I did this, and like, or something that's like, wow, that would be so dope if like I could do this to make money, or if I could like offer this to people. It's time to do that if you're not already doing it. And if you are doing it, this is just confirmation that keep going, and like, this is your time. Okay, this is it. Like, scales are tipping, and as much as you can, releasing gossip, releasing pettiness, releasing, all of those like energies that just like don't matter. People's opinions, people's ideas, people's perceptions of you, and to keep showing up with your heart open and keep pouring your cup as much as you have to give and as much as feels right into other people. There's that King of Pentacles again. You're doing it, you guys. You're there. Okay, so the next step is like slow and steady, one foot in front of the other. Do what feels the most exciting, what activates you on every level, on a soul level, what feels the most vibrant, what feels the most bright. That came through the very beginning. Your higher self always wants you to be making decisions from the level of not logic, but of what feels the most exciting, what feels like this is my higher self speaking to me right now in my body. Intuition lives in my body. And this feels the most exciting. This feels the most vibrant. It might not make the most amount of sense, but the prosperity will follow. And in some way, it does have to do with community. It has to do with serving other people. It has to do with you being seen in some way because you are a leader. You have been through many, many, many lifetimes of refinement. And how you move, how you be is like, it helps people shed their own defenses, because I feel like you have had many protection mechanisms that you have had to let go of, that you have recognized throughout your life. And you can see when people are anxious, you can see when people are suffering, but you still speak to the higher self and other people. You don't see yourself as any better than anyone else. And that's why you are meant to be this leader. And that's why you have been going through these these kicks throughout this life. That's why you have been humbled by life so many times in the ways that you have been, because it's going to bring you into this space, you guys, where like you are the leader of the Tao. If you've ever listened to the Tao Te Ching or read it, it talks about what true leadership is people don't even recognize they're being led by you. That's a true leader, right? People would be like, we did this ourselves. That's a true leader. But I do feel like without a doubt, people would be able to say and recognize that you have had a massive impact on their life, even in your small interactions that you would not even consider, like life-changing. There's things that you say to people that they remember for years, okay, because you have a very authentic, streamlined connection to your higher self, to your intuition, and you do the right things for the right reasons. And that's one of the reasons why you've been humbled, is because by the time you get to your throne, if you're not there already, if you can't already feel it, if you're not already sitting on it to some degree, it's like you are ready for this, and you will know how to responsibly wield the power that you are given in this life, because those that have much to give have many people to give it to. Okay, and so I do see in some way, community, working with others, impacting others, offering events, workshops, going on tours, traveling, meeting people. You are here for the people. You are here for the planet. You are here for big things. I could go on. I want you to leave an earth emoji down below if you made it to the end. This is it, and this is lit. This is like so fun, and it's just releasing those little fragments of shadows as they come up. But they don't stand a chance. Not in the wake of your light. Okay, friends, I'm leaving this here for now. Give this video a thumbs up, comment down below. This all helps these healing and validating messages reach the souls that need them when they need them the most. And maybe I'll see you again soon. Much love. Hey, group number 2, welcome to your reading all about messages from your future self. We are diving into 4 aspects today. The first is what your higher self / future self wants for you in this life. The next are any resistances that hold you back from that. The next aspect are gifts and talents that help move you forward. And lastly is a next step that your future self wants you to take now. Okay, these are timeless readings. And as always, you can stick around for the shuffling portion, or you can head to the description or the chapters and just skip right to where this reading begins. So we're going to jump right into it. What does your higher self want for you in this life? Group number 2. Calling upon the guides that are overseeing the group of souls drawn to this pile today. What do you want for group 2 in this life, please? Okay. Is there anything else that wants to come forward? Okay. And next we are asking resistances that hold you back. Some good, nice major arcanas coming up. Resistances that hold you back. All right, next we're getting into gifts and talents that help move you forward. And lastly, the next step that future self would like group 2 to take. Next step to take. Okay. All right, let's get into it. Okay, so what does higher self want for you in this life? Group number 2. Peace. I love it. So the dove to me represents freedom. It represents an uninhibited personality, and how we develop an uninhibited personality more and more is by freeing ourselves from illusion, freeing ourselves from karma, freeing ourselves from essentially just misperceptions, right? This entire game, this entire reality, arguably is a game of perception. And our experience of life is less what is happening, although that can most certainly aid in our experience. But our experience is more so our interpretations of why things are happening and our levels of perception. The more contracted our perception, the more we're going to suffer, right? The more expanded our perception, the more we're seeing through the eyes of God. And the more things just make sense. Everything is put in its proper context. That's really what the spiritual journey is about. It doesn't mean we're removing suffering, but because we put all of our experiences in its proper context, or we're able to see it from the perspective of our higher self, it just makes sense. And we lean into life and her lessons. And because we're not resisting life and her lessons, we need to be kicked around less. We need less of those kicks and burns and scrapes because, okay, I'm here. I'm present. I'm receptive to my life's learnings. I'm receptive to what it is that I came here to do. So I'm really getting that this life for you is meant to be one that is extremely spiritual. And doesn't mean that you and I speak the same lexicon, but it does at the very least, mean that there's a certain air of presence about you. There's a certain degree of radiance about you. There's a certain degree of being at ease with the way things have unfolded and how things are unfolding. Okay, this is really about allowing the wisdom of higher self to pour through you. And again, being this uninhibited flow of source energy, really. And so your higher self really wanted you in this life to expand your lens of perception and to kind of move through life with a sense of easefulness, and gracefulness, I should say. And, it's really just by daily and as much as you can, learning how to chip away at the falsities, right? And understanding the nature of reality, understanding the nature of this, transient journey that we're all on, and not getting so lost in it, not getting swept away in the comings and goings. And because so you're much more present because things are not lasting, things can be here today, gone tomorrow. And even though you understand these things, I feel like it's not like you love despite that. It's like you love even more because of this knowledge and these truths that you are meant to embody in this life. Okay, so a lot about just like, sharing that peace with others. I was guided to see this little thing, and my little guy has that thing too. And I instantly was drawn to the correlation between like you are sharing this peacefulness everywhere you go. Even if it's not something that you talk about in the same way that we're talking about it today, discussing it today, it's like your presence allows other people to come up for air, so to speak, is a way that some sages would say it. It's like you have done so much extricating of your consciousness and your identity from your avatar and from just like who you think you are or who other people think you are in this life, because there's less of an attachment to that. You understand, oh, this is just a role. Like I'm just a soul. This is just a lifetime, when you get around other people, they don't really know how to put their finger on it, but there's like a fluidity about your expression that allows them to become much more free as well. Even if it's just a little bit more free, it's like, oh, like they, in a strange way, become less identified with their role, with their personality, with their struggles, with, their flaws or insecurities, etc. And you share this air of peacefulness everywhere you go. So let's get a little bit more. Is there anything else higher self wants this group to know about what was wanted for this incarnation? We have the Magician. Yeah, it's like you're creating with the fabric of the universe itself. We have the Magician, we have the High Priestess, we have the Four of Pentacles, we have the Eight of Cups, the Queen of Pentacles, we have the Four of Swords in reverse, and we also have the Nine of Swords. So this is really about cutting through illusion, through your connection to source, and creating a life of luxury for yourself. And it's like, I feel like you are meant to experience prosperity on many different levels. And I feel like too, because we have two 4 cards, that number is really like elevated here. And 4 is all about like caution, or like even patience, or just like allowing the unfolding to happen, and like not really having anything to prove. Holding your cards close to your chest kind of thing is like, what's coming through is that you go about life. What higher self wanted is like your vibration and your energy and your just calm really goes before you. And so it's less about needing to prove yourself through what you're doing in life. Although I do see that whatever it is that you are called to do, you will probably be very gifted and very great at it, because the level at which you're creating from is a level that has such integrity built into the fabric of itself that it's like not built on shaky ground. When we, build things off of our ego, or wanting to prove that we're worthy, or wanting to, make a bunch of money, and like sell out on our integrity, whatever it is, we're like making decisions out of fear. That's built on shaky ground, right? So it's like everything that you do is built on solid ground. And I wouldn't be surprised if you've had to overcome a lot of like poverty consciousness and a lot of insecurities along the way to your peace. Honestly, I would not be surprised if a lot of like your blueprint in early incarnation was mired by a lot of loss, by a lot of grief, by a lot of like insecurities, hardship, like the almost the opposite end of the spectrum of where higher self is leading you now. And you probably already have many glimpses of deep peace. And it's like that contrast was necessary in order for you to really appreciate where you're at now, and to appreciate the peace that's coming for you, and also to have compassion for others. Because in some sort of way, I feel like you are a guide, or, like a maternal figure in the eyes of other people. And yeah, learning how to slow down, I feel like it's a big lesson in this life for you as well, especially because we have that 4 of Swords. It's the only one in reverse. So learning how to slow down and not get wrapped up in the game of what most modern culture tries to push is like your productivity is linked to what you're creating, how much you're creating. With the High Priestess and the Magician right next to each other, that tells me that when you do create, when you do come out of your, stillness, and when you do emerge from more of like an internalized perspective and just, a more feminine yin energy, when you do decide to create, it's like so much more powerful than if you were just trying to be productive for productive sake, So next we're going to get into, I could go on, but we're going to move on with resistances that hold you back. We have patience and planning. Shut up, because I did see that come up. I did see the Temperance card flip over too. So we have sacrifice. I wasn't telling you to shut up, guys. That's just an expression. Spiritual strength. Yeah, this is a very spiritual life for you. Harmony and patience. There it is. So we have patience coming up like pretty solidly at least 4 times so far in this reading. And we're only on the second section. So I feel like having patience with your unfolding and yourself in general, your journey might have been something that is kind of like challenging in terms of like, okay, we got like this, it's like your spiritual foundation needs to be laid first. And so I feel like you're like, I've been doing all the things, like the law of attraction, the meditating, I've been doing all the things that I feel like I'm supposed to do. And there's still a level of like not surrender. There's still a level of you thinking that what's the best timeline is for you, but you're meant to have a very strong spiritual foundation first and foremost, and then your external environment will slowly but surely begin to pick up the pace, okay? It doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. It doesn't mean that you're not, living your dharma. Dharma is not about what we're doing, it's about what we're being. And higher self in this life has almost like this lifetime really is about mastering the art of beingness. And what better of circumstances to learn mastery over beingness in a culture that is so obsessed with doing. I'm going to say that one more time. What better curriculum, what better schoolroom to learn the art of being in a culture and a time that is obsessed with doing. Okay, so this is about existing from that harmonious place. And I feel like too, maybe there's a little bit like, maybe you guys are at a point to where it feels like, gosh, like this area of my life is off. What is like, I'm seeing other people get married and have kids and their career is taking off and, A, B, C, and D, and you'll get there, and maybe that's not something that's like really at the forefront of your mind, but it's just like, maybe it's just like a wondering of like, okay, am I really doing what I'm supposed to do? And again, spirit really, or higher self really wants you to focus on your spiritual development and your presence, right? And meditating, contemplating, concentration, right? Meditation, contemplation, concentration. Those are like the three main gateways into more expanded states of awareness. And again, the more expanded our awareness, the more peaceful we naturally become, because things just make sense. We're digesting our life's experiences, etc. So yeah, I feel like maybe just in general, you've just had some, it's like where you're going and what you've experienced in the past aren't like fully congruent. Okay. And so if there's any part of you that's still holding on to old narratives or things that have happened in your past, this is this is permission to let it go. And to trust that everything is going to serve its purpose, and it might not make sense now. And there might even be a level of guilt of like who you've been in the past and how you've treated people in the past and the decisions that you've made, and how that's affected other people. But, higher self is really coming through strongly and asking me to remind you that everything was necessary. Everything was necessary for your growth. If it was not absolutely necessary in terms of the version of yourself that you're becoming in this life, that you're unearthing, I should say, in this life, if it was not necessary, you would not have experienced it. Okay, and that includes the person you've been to other people. Because when we act out of ways that bring suffering to other people, or hurt or whatever, it's because we're operating under a certain veil. We're operating under confusion to a certain degree. And the less confusion we operate, the less likely the less confusion we're operating under, the less likely we're going to create suffering for other people, right? And so those veils are there for a reason. Higher self has control over all of this. We knew what we were getting ourselves into when we took birth. So if those veils, like, we could come in completely awakened, but that's not relevant for this human experience. What's relevant is coming in with certain veils of illusion covering our perception. And that's how compassion is developed. That's how we really milk the most of this human experience and this schoolroom that we're in. Okay. So just being at peace with the way things are unfolding and who you've been, and knowing that your spiritual foundation is first and foremost what's more important. Okay. And then I feel like where you're going from there, the Queen of Pentacles did come up. So that does tell me luxury and, affluence. However, it's the Pentacles. So that's a slow but steady kind of unfolding. Okay. And by the time you get to where, by the time you get to your throne, or you really feel like, okay, I'm on the throne, I'm getting comfortable in it, you're going to know what to do with that power. Okay. So we're going to get into gifts and talents that help move you forward. We have Starkeeper, Cosmic Ancestor, Seed the Light by staying grounded. And we have All Paths Lead Home, Inner Authority, Intuition, Turn Your Gaze Within. So already I'm getting that you are a very cosmic and expanded soul. Okay. So I'm really getting that you've always had this deep knowing, is what I'm hearing, that, this is not your first life, or that at the very least life is much more than what we think it is. And wouldn't even be surprised if you've had people tell you you're an old soul throughout most of your life. You have a strong air of authority about you when you do speak on things and in rooms where you feel comfortable sharing your truth. There is this air of authority that I feel like you've probably always carried with you. And yeah, I feel like the more that you feel grounded in your truth, the more that you shine. All right. So there is a deep degree of what goes along with peace is a calm nervous system, feeling grounded, feeling centered. Okay. And two, I feel like a gift that you have is understanding that you can't fuck it up. On some level, I feel like there is part of you on some level that understands that there's nothing to do, right? There's nowhere to go. This is an eternal dance we're engaging in. And there's again, one of the gifts that is hardwired into your blueprint is this kind of relaxed approach to life. And okay, go with the flow. If it happens, it happens. If not, it's not, so you do have this relaxed air about you, at least when it comes to I feel like you're good at identifying that and bringing other people into that state. But I know sometimes when it comes to our own life and being able to integrate that wisdom fully in our own life is much more difficult. And I would dare to say that you probably are one of the more aware beings that most people come across in their life. And you maybe don't necessarily have people that are on your level in terms of perception. And that's not hierarchy. That's not better or worse. That's just you've lived a shit ton of lives. And with that comes a very expanded consciousness. Okay. And so, yeah, what a better time to have this deep spiritual training than in a world that is very material. So tell us more about gifts and talents that help move them forward. Like we have temperance actually coming up right now. Again, so we have the tower, we have temperance. So the healing that comes after tower moments, I feel like you guys I'm getting like Pluto and Scorpio vibes, or Scorpio and Pluto and Scorpio. Yeah. Where you kind of thrive in chaos, or you've learned a lot from the adverse experiences that you've been through. And so I feel like that's kind of one of the reasons why you have this nonchalance about you, is that like, you're like, oh, I've seen worse. Or like even your soul remembers lifetimes where it's been a hell of a lot more challenging. And not to say this life is not challenging for you in some senses. I just really feel like you have this air of like, it is what it is. And how do we move forward? And knowing that everything that's happened is a blessing in disguise. It's like you use everything, you understand everything, especially adversity, is meant to grow you in some sort of way. And because you know that and you recognize that on a soul level, that's how you use those experiences. So you're growing, you're learning, you're alchemizing from these adverse experiences. So what I love about this is that you don't turn away from life, right? You don't turn away from her lessons, because the more we turn away from the lessons, the more we're going to, the louder those wake-up calls are going to be. The louder, it's like they say spirit comes in at first like a light rapping on our door, like a little tapping, and then it turns into a knock, and then it's like a bang, and then it's like life is kicking our doors down. And so I feel like you've had maybe enough of those experiences to where you're like, I think I'm gonna just surrender to where my life is leading me and let go of this idea that I know, like from this egoic level, I know how it should be going and how it should be unfolding. And I'm just gonna trust that, this is my path, and it might look very different than other people, but I just have to honor where this is leading me. And because of that, that's when you're developing that peace. That's when you're creating that alchemical gold within yourself, within your life, and experiences. So yeah, very, very powerful entity that came here, that did not come here to mess around, okay? You came here to have fun, but this is and it's interesting because the more spiritual we become, the more lighthearted and goofy an individual becomes too. So I don't think those are like mutually exclusive. I think they do definitely go hand in hand, right? Peace, laughter, joy, just like not needing evidence outside of yourself, things looking a certain way before you feel a certain way. And, it's like really like, if I could sum it up in one phrase, it's like, seek ye first the kingdom, and then all else shall be added unto you. So you're like, the first part of your incarnation is seeking first the kingdom, and then all else will be added to you. And if you're not already seeing it, you're going to see it for sure. And lastly, the next step your future self wants you to take. First house, arrival, here and now, showing up, owning who you are, going after. If there's anything you've been like wanting to go after or exploring, or any direction your inner compass has been guiding you towards, this is like a go for it, right? The very first cardinal sign, Aries, go for it. Okay. This is all about personality. Again, that came through the very beginning. Like, it's not that when we become spiritual or we like align with these greater truths that we lose our personality. It's like we become even more us, more of that avatar's expression than ever before. And it's because, there's less of a rigidity. There's less of like, I need to control this from the inside out. And it's just allowing allowing source to pour through your unique blueprint in this day and age. And so there's more flow, there's more ease, there's more fun, it's more relaxed. It's so much more natural. Okay. And so arriving in yourself in each day, in each moment, not, changing who you are, not doing your best. I know that's like easy to say sometimes because these programs within us can be so deep, but doing your best to relax in each moment and just remembering, I'm all good. This is who I'm supposed to be, flaws and all. If they weren't meant to be here, they wouldn't be, misperceptions and all. But the more that you're daily engaging activities that help merge your identity with something more cosmic, the easier this is going to be. So I'm talking meditation, breath work, etc., that kind of thing. Next, we have passion. So yeah, we have two fire elements coming through. Okay. And we have a cardinal and a fixed. So this is about going after those things that really light you up and being relentless in your pursuit of those. Okay. And yeah, you're really here for like a very unique incarnation. And It's like, yeah, this is lit. This is so cool. This is so fun. Like, you're meant to be so free in this life, you guys. Yeah, freedom and peace is really what you're meant to experience in this life. And so your guides really want you to lean into those things that set your soul on fire and that are so unique to yourself, and less of a watered down version of you. And I'm talking about all areas. This is not just like, okay, what am I making? It's like, how do you talk to people? How do you what are you posting on social media? Like, are you doing it through the lens of how will people take this? Or are you just like, this is me, my uninhibited, unfiltered, raw self? Because the more you express from that level of like, this is just me, the more that sends out such a powerful vibration into the universe. And it's like your reality starts to bend around you, because there's nothing more powerful than someone that is honoring their soul's blueprint, than someone that is fully aligned to what it is that they came here to do and who it is they came here to be. Or at least that alignment is getting, stronger and stronger. It's getting more and more. It's taking your feet less and less off the path of like what everyone else is doing, what everyone else expects, and more placing your feet on your own path, on the road less traveled. Okay. And there's nothing more powerful than aligning your lower will with that of God's will. Okay. Because that's when things really take off. And so I see that you're already on that process. You've already been doing that. This is confirmation to keep doing those things that, maybe other people don't understand, but like your vibration when you're doing it is what matters, because that's what attracts, that's what starts to speak to the fabric of the universe around you. And like where that energy will take you is so much more different, so much more powerful, so much more profound than where the energy of logic and the small self alone will take you. Okay. So there's so much here about focusing on your state of being, focusing on that state of peace, bliss, ecstasy, joy, just in the small things. And in terms of career, in terms of hobbies. And from there, it's like you don't even know what doors are going to open, what portals are going to inevitably open, who you're going to meet in that flow state. Okay, this is about being in a state of consistent flow, a state of consistent unearthing and discovery. And next we have faith. Have faith in your dreams. So beautiful. So we have arrival, we have passion, and we have faith in your dreams. So the next step is to just continue to lean in the direction of those things, and in as many ways as you can, big and small. If you have like a dream of like being a Reiki teacher or something, you're taking that course, you're signing up for the course, you're going to the classes. If you really love what you get out of breathwork and meditation, and you want to start gifting that to other people, you have visions of yourself leading retreats, start leaning into that direction. Don't allow it to just be this thing that resides in your mind. You can cultivate your peace as you are on your path. Okay. I know in the beginning we talked a lot about letting the peace be there first. But that's like what higher self, that's inevitable. Right. And so I feel like maybe even some of you guys have been on this path of like cultivating. And maybe you're even waiting for you to be at a certain level, right? And like waiting for perfection almost. And this is saying, don't wait for perfect. This is the human experience. There's no such thing. It's going to be messy. And the more okay you are with things being messy, the less messy they are, right? The less messy it seems to happen. The more you're like, okay, might fuck this up, whatever, might embarrass the shit out of myself, whatever. The more you're okay with that, the less it actually happens, right? So there's a lot here about, yes, peace is it. Freedom is it. Freedom and personality and expression. And now it's like, go out and do. Okay. So the next step is like, you've arrived. And now it's like, how do we channel and funnel this pure, essence and this essence of you, that you've been cultivating for so long. Now, how do we like channel that in fun ways and creative ways, and not giving up, not feeling like, if it's not happening at the pace that you think it should be happening or at the pace it's happened for other people, not assuming that that means you're on the wrong path or anything. It's like you have this internal compass, this internal guidance system. And as long as you're doing your best to tune into that, it's going to work out in ways that you can never have expected, and have faith in it. And it's going to look different. There's no cookie cutter of like things working out perfectly in your life is going to look very, very, very different than things working out perfectly in my life, right? And so it's releasing these. Aries is all about self, okay? It's releasing how it's worked for anyone else and focusing on, all right, this is me, this is my path, okay? Okay, so next step, more detail. Yeah, one foot in front of the other, okay? This does have to do with some sort of like, this is like the card of apprenticeship or entrepreneurship. So your passion has the potential to or the things you're passionate about has the potential to take you in the direction of like set you free financially. We have Two of Cups. We have the King of Cups, and we have the Knight of Pentacles. So this is not getting swept away by the comings and goings. Okay, the King of Cups is someone who's very equanimous, someone who's led by intuition. I feel like you are much more connected than you probably give yourself credit for. And I feel like there's just a message here about you're holding yourself back in some senses. Okay, and maybe overthinking things, over questioning things, over analyzing things. Again, on one level, you're a very spiritual being. And I feel like what might be confusing is like, how do I do both? How can I be a very spiritual person while also being like this person that very clearly has a strong earth mission as well? And those things, you know, can happen. Speaking mainly to the female audience, females biologically have this thing where we not only are have like a really seamless and streamlined connection to source, but we also have this element within us that has this very natural need to nest. So we're being pulled in both directions, where we are the Shakti in India. Women were seen as the Shakti, the spiritual power, the energy necessary in order to get anything done in life, the spiritual connection, right? And also we have this nesting need because we bear the children, and we, you know, there's that natural desire or that natural inclination to take care of things. So that Queen of Pentacles that came through in the beginning, right? And to nurture the connections in your life. So, you know, if you are a female embodied, like that is something that we are actually very naturally gifted at doing. And the male was seen as someone that naturally that's very intellectual. And so the female and the male together were like seen as a power couple where, you know, the energy of the Shakti was necessary to help the man take him beyond his thoughts, because he gets so wrapped up in his thoughts. And then he could help keep the woman from getting too lost in the world. So that's kind of how it was seen. I just felt like that was really cool and interesting when I learned about it. So I wanted to share that here with you, because I think sometimes we're like, how can both work? But it's like, they're meant to. And it's meant to be so much easier when you put the spiritual connection first, because the more you know your soul signature, the more you can feel what your soul signature feels like in your body, the more making decisions is so much easier. Because it's like, is this in alignment? Does this feel right or not? And if it does, then it's like, okay, cool. This is what we're doing. One foot in front of the other, not needing it to make sense as we're taking those steps. But we have this internal guidance system. We know this is what I'm here for. This is my blueprint. This is what I'm here to bring to the world. And we're doing it. Okay, but a lot of prosperity in terms of emotionality, your connections, your community, your friends, okay, and not waiting for perfection, okay, just going for it. All right, group number 2, I'm going to leave this here for now. If this was your pile, you're most certainly going to leave the dove down below. Can't wait to see all the doves that come through. Comment anything else relevant that came through. Give this video a thumbs up. This really helps these messages receive other souls that need the confirmation and validation along their road less traveled. And I do hope to see you again on my channel soon. If it resonates, much love. Hi, group number 3. Welcome to your reading. This is a message from your future self. There are 4 aspects we're diving into today. The first aspect is what your higher self or future self wants for you in this life. The next is any resistances that hold you back. The next aspect we're diving into are the gifts and talents that help move you forward. And lastly, the next step that your future self would like you to take now. Okay, so you can stick around for the shuffling portion of this, or you can jump right into the reading by heading to the description box or skipping through the chapters. Okay, so we're going to get right into this, calling upon the guides of those that are overseeing the group of souls drawn to this pile today. We're asking, what is it that higher self wants for these souls in this life? Okay. Next, we're asking, what resistances hold this group of souls back? What are the main resistances that hold this group of souls back, please? Okay. Next, we are asking the gifts and talents that help move this group forward. Anything else? Gifts and talents. Okay. And lastly, the next step that future self would like this group to take. Okay, next step future self would like this group to take. I'm gonna take both of those. All right. And we have these cards here for clarification. Okay, Spirit. So first we're asking, what is it that higher self wants for this group in this lifetime, please? That's gonna bother me. First, we have building blocks. Okay, so you're building something of substance. I'm getting something about slow and steady, something that you're proud of, something that you're starting from the ground up. And next we have never-ending story. So really, I feel like this lifetime for you guys is a lifetime where you are stepping beyond a significant amount of karma, generational karma, personal karma, etc. Let's get more details before I get too much into this in terms of what higher self wants for you. Queen of Wands. We have the Knight of Wands in reverse. We have the Four of Pentacles. Let's see, we can get more information. Yeah, a lot about intuition I'm seeing come through already. And the Six of Cups. So I feel like the biggest part of this is what you're moving towards and why you're moving towards it. Okay, so I feel like in terms of what it is that you are, what higher self wants for you in this life, like I feel like you're meant to create something of substance, something that is giving to other people, something that helps the planet in some sort of way. Like I do feel like you're definitely using your skills and your talents and your expertise to build something. And I feel like a big part too of this journey is in some way it's here to help relieve like a big misperception on the planet. Okay, so I feel like whatever it is you're doing, it's within a field where I feel like you're helping people step beyond like things that they've carried around since childhood, things that are hard for them. You help to build other people up in some way. You help other people feel okay with their misperceptions or their flaws or the things that they're not like super stoked about within themselves. And I feel like part of it might have to do with like worthiness in some sort of way, you know, this unworthiness story, because, you know, what I'm getting with the Knight of Wands coming up in reverse, it's almost like you're helping to undo this idea that people should just like, should always be doing something. You're helping to undo this idea of like my value is attached to what I'm producing. My value and my worth is attached to like how much I'm doing, and helping to establish within yourself and on the planet. But you know, it all starts with the self, helping to establish this sense of the more that I know myself, the more that I tune in, the more that I'm just like aware of my soul signature, the more obvious things will be to me of, is this for me or is this not? And there's more of like an attracting, there's more of like, you're doing the work internally. And then when externally things are presented to you, like opportunities or doors open or etc., or you're like, oh wow, really feel like exploring this, like it's coming, the place it's coming from is much different. It's not coming from this place of like, I just got to do. It's coming from this place of, you know, I really want to be secure and set within myself. And it really has to feel right, even if, you know, it's like, doesn't make sense financially, or even though other people might like question why I'm doing what I'm doing, or why I'm choosing to lean into the path to the left versus the path to the right, or, you know, whatever. And so I feel like a big part of what higher self wanted for you in this life was more of that like feminine leadership, okay, where we're going in first, we're tuning into our highest aspect, we're asking spirit, and from there, like, we're taking risks that at first might seem like it's a big risk, like financially or in some sort of way, it's like some sort of risk, right? But in the long term, it's going to pay off. So there's a lot of like long-term vision that I feel higher self continues to bring into your awareness or bring into your field. And within that, there's a lot of overcoming of self-limiting beliefs along the way. Like there's a lot of overcoming of those beliefs along the way. And I feel like this wouldn't be something that would come as a surprise to you. But it's like you're definitely going through a refining period of, whatever it is that you're guided to do, whatever it is that is part of your dharma that you're building towards, that has something to do with like creativity and being a leader and continually growing and evolving. I feel like it's also helping you meet your karmic knots. It's also bringing you face to face with the parts within yourself that, you know, are not operating within the highest integrity and that are still flawed and that are still operating under certain veils of confusion, and not making that a negative thing, but understanding that's part of the human experience. We're going to mess up. You know, we're not perfect. It's not a plane that perfection exists on. And so a big part of what you're building is like helping you to meet your ideas of limitation, whatever it is that you're building and working towards within yourself. It's helping you simultaneously meet these aspects within yourself that feel like they've kind of been like following you around for a long time. And higher self is really like, if there's any part of you that is waiting for those things to be gone or done before you move in a certain direction, the only way they'll be alchemized and like you'll take that substance and turn it into an alchemical gold is by leaning into the lesson, by leaning into it, and by not resisting, right? By not like avoiding it. Because I feel like with this group, there might be an idea of, I need to have all of these things ironed out myself before I A, B, C, or D. And so I feel like higher self is really shining the light on, in order to move beyond A, B, C, and D. It's like you have to just like, you have to do the thing that you think that you can't do until whatever, you know. It's like the carrot on the stick, where you see the vision, and as you're moving towards the vision, these things will be ironed out, but it's like they can't be ironed out until you're already moving towards it, if that makes sense. So a very intuitive path, and a very, you know, led by the feminine versus the masculine, right? There's an emphasis here because the Knight is not only like, the Knight is very, very masculine. The Knight of Wands here, because you still have masculine energy that you're working with the fire element is a masculine element. But the Knight, not only is it like a male, right, of the male species, so there's masculine energy there, there's masculine energy in the fire element, and then also the whole idea of the Knight is very masculine by nature, right? Whereas the Page is more feminine. The Knight is more, and its energy within itself, it's very penetrative. It's very like go-getter. And so there's an emphasis here of you're undoing a lot of those ideas of what it means to be successful, or what it means to build a life of substance, or be someone of value on the planet, etc. Okay, so yeah, you are definitely meant to build things and to be like, you know, really good in whatever field that you're in. And it's like you undo the karma as you go. Okay, so you're not waiting until perfection, because that doesn't exist on this planet. Okay, so we're going to get into resistances that hold you back. We have light with sun. We have harmony with the Lovers energy. We have intuition coming up again with the High Priestess. And lastly, we have passion ignited. This is a pretty straightforward and already a very like coherent reading that's coming through. So I feel like there's a lot of things that you desire to have in this life. And there's a sense here of feeling like you can't be the person that you need to be in order to like manifest those things that you want to manifest. And yeah, let's get a little bit deeper with the tarot here. But I feel like following your intuition and following your passion is the biggest thing here. And maybe you don't even know what that means. What does that mean to follow my passion? What does that mean to follow my intuition? Well, it's like those things that light you up, those things that excite you. It's like you're moving in those directions where you're like, oh my gosh, it would be so cool. And noticing those things where you're like, this would be so cool. And then noticing where you say, but, right? That's that never ending story energy, the but I can't really do this. Or, but this is my situation right now. but it doesn't work like that for me. You're not excluded from the fabric of this reality, and that's, how it works. It really is leaning into those things that set your soul on fire is what you're here for. Page of Cups, it's following those intuitive nudges. Yeah, I'm hearing that you get a lot of intuitive nudges, but the thing about the Page of Cups is like that fish represents an intuitive nudge, and when we don't catch the nudge, or when we don't ride the wave of that nudge, it slips out from our fingertips super quickly. And so I feel like there might be an indication here of like opportunities open up to you, and maybe you don't catch the wave, or you don't catch it because there's an idea, I'm not where I want to be yet, I'm not illumined enough, I'm not A, B, C, or D enough. Okay. And this, I feel like has, interesting, the moon right underneath the sun. I feel like this definitely is leaks into other areas of your life, right? Like relationships too, like the things that you deeply want. I feel like there's a sense of like you maybe question if you can sustain that reality. And it's like you start to gain evidence. The part of you that is like trying to protect you, pile number 3, it's like you'll start to gain evidence for it as you just do what you know that you need to do. It's like the whole path is not meant to be illumined. The whole path is not going to be illumined. And it's about taking the steps and knowing that, it's about developing trust as you go. And this is something that's like, I feel like sometimes people are like, oh, easy for you to say. But at one point I was in this energy too, where I had to take someone else's word for it, where I could really see and sense and trust the place that they were coming from when they were, passing along this information to me, or my teachers, my friends, my gurus in this life. And then you start doing it. You start following your own path, your own road less traveled, leaning into your own intuition. And then you really start to see it, right? And you undo all of these karmic knots. And I'm also hearing that, it's important for you to remember that healing is nonlinear. And so I feel like there might be a degree of frustration of just when you think you're beyond something, or just when you think you're like on a certain path, and that doesn't involve a certain like limiting belief or behavior or like aspect of yourself, it like sneaks back in. And there's many beings that have dedicated their entire lives to like meditation and expanding their consciousness, that would say that it's not necessarily that those things become eradicated within us, but we just start taking our cues from them a lot less, right? And they might still be there, but they're not in the foreground. They're like more in the background. Okay. So there's like some subconscious limiting beliefs I feel here that are creating some resistances that you might not even really be aware of. And learning how to shine the light on those things, I feel like would be pretty beneficial. So whether that's taking a breathwork journey with me, the reason why I learned about breath and meditation and, how to be a facilitator of these things was for this very reason, and how much it helped me start to do the deep unearthing of the subconscious realm, okay, the subconscious terrain, because I'm getting an aspect that there might be some degree of like, maybe when things start to get good, some sort of like self-sabotaging tendencies or, something, because we're not doing that daily maintenance and of going within, connecting with our higher self. And we're not doing, our like quarterly deep dive, our quarterly maintenance. So we're, like taking our car in to get the oil change, that kind of thing, with like whatever modality it is for you, whether it's breath work or, maybe you engage in plant medicine or something. But there's a big thing. There's a big correlation between like what you are wanting to build and the person you're wanting to be, and then also needing to do the work simultaneously and not like bypass spiritually or whatever. Okay, so next we're going to get into the gifts and talents that move you forward. First, we have all paths lead home. Inner authority, intuition has come up 3 times in like, a very obvious way. And turn your gaze within. Yeah, that definitely came up in the very beginning. And perspective, none of this matters. Zoom out, common ground. So I feel like on some level, it's like there might be a frustration because that none of this matters. That this is just a lifetime. That like we're all just souls. I wouldn't be surprised if you've even said like something recently, or you just have said in the past, you know, we're all just like tiny specks of dust, or something like we're all just here today, gone tomorrow, or, you know, realize that we're like on this spinning planet in the middle of nowhere, you know, something that kind of zooms you out and reminds you of like the fleeting nature of this all. And so I feel like on some level, you guys have a very like expanded lens of perception where you kind of recognize the journey of the soul to some degree, and how we have lifetimes and we have lessons, and, you know, there's no right or wrong way to exist. There's no right or wrong path. There's like a path that's right for you. There's a path that's right for them. There's a path that's, you know, very individual and unique to everyone. So that's definitely one of your gifts. It seems like there's a little bit of a, like in terms of your belief systems that you developed, that you like adopted from other people, like generational karma is mainly what I'm getting from this. That this is not necessarily your stuff that you're dealing with on a soul level. This is not your work, but on a physical human level, this is what you absorbed from your lineage, you know, and just from the collective in general. So there might be a frustration of like, I feel myself like so tuned in, and I feel like I have this great connection to source and A, B, C, and D, but when it comes to actually actualizing on those things and leaning in those directions, for whatever reason, you know, it's challenging for whatever reason. You feel like maybe you don't have what it takes, or yeah, let's see. But working on unification is really what I'm getting here. Unification of getting on the same page, you know, getting your nervous system on the same page of, you know, what's coming through the crown and the third eye chakras. Okay, so let's get more information on gifts and talents that help move this group forward. We have the Queen of Swords. Okay, so something about expression, something about your intellect. So writing, I was hearing something about the throat chakra too when I said the third eye and the crown. Something about writing, something about like where you are verbalizing or discussing these things in some sort of way, or not these things, but just like in terms of gifts and talents, you're a very articulate individual. And I feel like one of your gifts is being able to put concepts that are maybe challenging for the mind to grasp in really easy terms or ways for other people to digest. Okay. So yeah, I'm not surprised that we have this perspective. None of this matters, because the Queen of Swords is all about having a high perspective and not getting lost in the fogginess of things. And then, yeah, so naturally I feel like you see above, or I don't want to say see above the rest, like people aren't see, you know, like there's a hierarchy, but I just feel like naturally you tend to grasp concepts pretty easily that might be more challenging for other people, like very strong Mercury placement, or just a lot of like Mercury, like Gemini, Virgo in your chart, maybe in significant places. Seven of Swords in reverse. So it's interesting because like, I feel like, you know, all of this energy is here, like the Sun energy, the Lover's energy, the High Priestess energy, the passion, the Ace of Wands, it's all here. But I feel like there's like a mistrust of if it is going to work out for you, or if you can lean into it, even though I feel like you've not really had too many experiences of it not working out. And at some point, even if something that you wanted to work out didn't, at some point being like, oh, that's why, you know? So it's like you're able to connect the dots very well in terms of cause and effect, you know, to whatever degree we're actually able to, you know, do that solidly, or to whatever degree from this level, we're never going to know, you know, how cause and effect works in terms of higher levels. But I just feel like naturally you're really good and gifted at knowing that everything that's happening for you is of benefit towards you in some way. Okay. And so I feel like, yeah, these things can both exist within ourselves, where it's like, this is all good. I know this is my lesson. I know this is part of what I'm here for. This is part of what I'm helping the planet with. This is part of my karma. This is part of my work. And then on another level, it's like a deep frustration because you are a light. you are someone that helps other people illuminate aspects within themselves that they might not have recognized without your perception. You are someone that a lot of people love to have around, and that brings a lot of harmony and connection and just a sense of belonging in the lives of other people. You are someone that is very tuned into source. You know, you are someone that has a lot of creative potential and creative capacities. And I feel like it's just, there's an area or maybe certain things in your life that have been like the very human aspects of yourself have maybe been chipping away at your confidence to some degree, or make you feel like I'm a fraud. I can't be this and this. I can't be this good, you know, and still have these things that are very human and that I'm not proud of happen, these blind spots that we all do, you know? So, yeah, very interesting energies, but not surprised. You know, this is something that we definitely is common in this plane that we're existing in. Okay, so next we're going to get into the next step that your future self wants you to take, okay? So first we have 9th house, exploration. Yeah, some sort of journey. I did see the Wheel of Fortune at the bottom of this, and it's interesting that these are giving same vibes, you see? So yeah, I feel like something is going to change or present itself soon, maybe. Just because that's an interesting synchronicity. Next we have think. Next we have emotions are running high, supermoon. And lastly we have balance, spirituality, and practicality. Hell yeah. I was kind of getting that the part of the frustration is like when our soul has gained so much wisdom in various lifetimes and we like can conceptualize things very well, because I feel like you're, again, with this thing coming up, this Athena card, Palace card coming up, Palace Athena, this really reiterates that you have a very strong intellect, and maybe you have significant air placements in your chart in general, or again, that strong Mercury, Virgo or something. But what higher self wants you to do is to start leaning into those directions more that have been coming through, and to ponder new ways to go about like this, whatever it is that you're building, or to start laying the foundation, or to, you know, at the very least, like get moving more in that direction. If you guys have like, I don't know, maybe you got started, maybe something that happens is you tend to get started on something and then you give up, or you tend to get started and then you don't follow through. And I feel like you guys are maybe at a point of feeling a little bit frustrated, maybe a lot of bit frustrated, okay, with this full moon energy, this super moon energy. Definitely getting the sense that something is going to change very soon. Something is going to present itself very soon, or you're going to get some sort of idea that, you know, gives you, there's like an opportunity to explore something or to explore a new direction, and you're going to want to think about it, right? You're going to want to sit on it. And again, it's interesting that we have this full moon in Pisces card coming up, which talks about balancing spirituality and practicality, because again, I am getting the sense that like you are very spiritual, you are very in tune with the higher realms. And then, you know, it's like, I kind of am seeing this as balancing your divinity with your humanity. Okay. And so understanding that, yeah, just because you are very intellectually gifted and, you know, can make a lot of connections, does not discount the fact that we also took a human body, and there is karma that is attached to the human vessel. There's karma attached to the soul. So yeah, let's get a little bit more information in terms of the next step. What does this have to do with, please, Spirit, this energy? What does this have to do with? We have the moon, we have the 5 of Wands coming up in reverse. Yeah, there might be some like conflict that you're experiencing, or that like internal conflict that's happening because of like something that's going on in your life, or wanting to explore, or feeling like trapped where you are, and really wanting to get beyond this feeling of stagnation is really what I'm getting. And this feeling of like being trapped by the subconscious and not really knowing how to move forward. There's so much full moon energy that's coming through here. So I do feel like this might be a period of deep confusion that you're in. And, you know, it's meant to catalyze you into greater, like deeper self exploration, really. and really deep diving into the subconscious is really what I feel like is coming through here. Page of Swords. Yeah. Getting curious about these aspects of self. Yeah. We have that Nine of Swords. I was really getting that. Maybe we're thinking too much, and this is the catalyst that you need to, bring you into a space to where you can start doing that healing, right? Because I feel like I am getting the sense that there's like such powerful air, like energy. And then also it seems like you are very gifted intellectually and being able to take broad concepts and make sense of them. However, it's also important to understand that if the air element is something that is like really strong in your chart, that's the way that you're going to go imbalanced when stress is introduced into your life. So the air, when it's put under stress, becomes anxiety very quickly. And so I feel like there's a lot of like anxiety, anxious emotions, and like fear in your field. And so instead of trying to meet the fear from the level of the intellect where the fear is being born, it's your guides are ushering you in a direction to where you can meet that fear from the level of the subconscious or the level of the nervous system. And so there's an indication here about working with people that, are experts in certain areas or that have, overcome certain things or similar to what you're going through, and to, that just like kind of understand the journey that you're on, because you are a very spiritual being. So I know sometimes, I'm not saying don't go to therapy, but I'm just saying I know sometimes for me it was really challenging trying to find someone that could really meet me at my level in terms of all the different moving parts, because I understand things from a spiritual level, but then I have these very human things that seem to have been influencing my life and myself, my character, the way I was showing up. And so again, it's like the house being divided against itself. And so now you're working on reharmonizing and reunifying yourself. So getting really curious about the different modalities you have available to you in order to take this dive into the subconscious and, begin this work of nervous system healing. And I just feel like there's a little bit of like chaotic energy in your life that, this is one of those, what it means here, this never ending story. This might be something that you've been dealing with your whole life, is like anxiety and feeling like, is it ever going to work out, etc. But, it's just about understanding, it's part of your blueprint, and understanding like the elements to you, and just like Ayurveda and stuff like that really helped me, because I was like, oh gosh, like, for example, I have a lot of fire. And so understanding how the fire element works, it's very perceptive. Fire is a natural teacher. They digest concepts very easily, etc. But when fire is put under stress, it can become erratic, it can become explosive, it can become jealous, right? So these are the important things to know, because it's like, I'm balancing spirituality with practicality, where I understand this is just part of my constitution in this life. This is part of just what I'm working with in this life. And you're seeing it less from a zoomed in perspective of your experience, and you're seeing it more from a wider lens of perception, right? You're seeing it more from the lens of the soul, which I think usually is really easy for you. But when it comes to your own life experiences, there's a sense of frustration that I'm getting. Like, usually it's really easy for you to articulate these things. But when it comes to your own life, I feel like there's a frustration, and it feels like, when am I going to get beyond this? And it's time to do some deep, kind of regression kind of stuff, where soul retrieval aspects, where, and I feel like you're being ushered in that direction, because seems like it's reaching a culminating point to where it's like, okay, I need to get to the bottom of this, and to where you're willing to try whatever it takes to do it. And I do see good fruitages coming up. Again, this energy is here for you. This is a lot of powerful energy you're working with. But when we've been through experiences in life, especially in early incarnation, that shot our nervous systems, blew our nervous systems out of this world, and just being a really sensitive being in general, that can happen. it can be challenging to tap into the gifts that we come in with, because it is being like over, like that anxious air element is like overriding, you know, the powerful air element, the constructive air element versus the destructive, or whatever other elements you tend to naturally embody very well. Because we did have the swords, and we do have fire coming up a bit too, right? So those are powerful together, but also they can be very unstable. A lot of fire, like you add wind to flames, and what happens? You know, it's combustion. So I feel like you're working with a lot of powerful gifts, and it's just about settling the nervous system and, you know, exploring these things that feels like you haven't really been able to shake. And again, in some way, it's part of, you know, spirit knows, like, okay, this person was going to address this, and it's going to help their entire lineage, you know, and a big part of the collective consciousness as well, as they're working to build themselves in this direction, right? Because you're a leader, you have many things to offer to this world and to people. And I feel like sometimes maybe you just question, oh, am I really a leader if I'm struggling with all of this stuff too, you know? But yep, this is the journey, and I get it. And I hope this reading brought clarity and confirmation and peace to your heart today. If this was your reading, leave a sword down below representing your powerful mind, your powerful intellect. And yeah, if there's nothing else you want to comment, and give this video a thumbs up. This all helps these healing messages, these validating messages reach the souls that need them when they need them. And I hope to see you on my channel again soon. Much love.